All right, so officially welcome
Thank you.
to both of you. Glad we're doing a session. So it's like
Yeah.
2 hours later than planned, but there is no time, so it's all fine. So yeah, maybe Sally, can you just do a little clearing for us, just a little
Mm.
couple of minutes to get us into it,
Yeah. All right.
settle into it. That's always nice.
Okay. Just close your eyes for a moment and you can listen or repeat the words, whatever works for you. You need to mute if you're going to repeat them now. I'm ready to release and let go of all my resistance to this session, to this information, the Course in Miracles, reading the lessons, to understanding them, to receiving insights and miracles. I release all this from my energy in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I'm ready to release and let go of all my resistance to this session, to this information, to the Course in Miracles, reading the lessons, to understanding, to receiving insights and miracles. I release this from my energy in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I'm ready to release and let go of all my resistance to today's lesson, to receiving insights from today's lesson through the Course in Miracles. I release this from my energy in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I welcome in new awarenesses, miracles and insights. I choose to feel energized and uplifted by this session. I intend to know the truth now, that I am pure, formless awareness of perfect love. I welcome this into my energy now, in all forms, all levels, all points in time. I welcome into my energy all new awarenesses, all miracles and insights that are for my highest good. And I choose to feel energized and uplifted by this session. I intend to know the truth. I am pure, formless awareness of perfect love. I welcome this into my energy now and the energy of the group in all forms, all levels, all points in time. Breath. And so it is.
Nice, thank you, Sally.
Okay.
All right, so let's have a little look at today's quote and zoom that in a bit. Quote and little comments on it, and then go into the lesson. So, Sally, would you like to read the quote? Kindly.
When you know and believe you are enough, you don't need more. When you feel and believe you are not enough, you will always want more. By Marisa Peer. Today's quote by Marisa Peer, hypnotherapist to celebrities like Princess Diana and Amy Winehouse, gives a different perspective on the same fundamental truth that the Buddha noticed 2,500 years ago, which became the second noble truth of Buddhism. He observed that people's desire or craving to have or be something more than they already had or were caused them endless suffering.
Okay, let's pause it there. So really, all Marisa Peer is doing is restating, the second noble truth of Buddhism from her perspective, based on experience with these celebrities who are in extreme example of our society. They represent the ego in overdrive, with all the ego can offer, and yet so many of them are not happy, which is why of course they sort it out, because although they had everything on the level of form, they didn't have happiness. And so this quote is just a statement of truth based on what she observed, but it's a fundamental truth. When you feel and believe you're not enough, you always want more. So hence we're on this track of desiring and craving something external to fulfill us, when actually everything is inside of us, but we've denied that. So the consequence of denying who you really are is that you must look outside of yourself then for some kind of satisfaction, and this craving and desire is the consequence of disconnecting from your source, and it perpetuates it. So the more you crave and desire something outside of yourself to fulfill yourself, the more you actually are saying, I'm not enough as I am. That's the subtle message you're giving your mind, which is why desire or craving is connected and the source of all suffering, as the Buddha noticed, because you're craving or desiring to anything is saying, I'm not okay as I am. That's the message you keep giving your mind. And so you're actually attacking yourself by craving or desiring something outside of yourself. And hence it's a fundamental truth of Buddhism. You could, if you look at our descent into hell diagram, I'll go there quickly. You see that really desire was the start of the whole thing. Desire kicked off. The desire to be something other than what we were was what kicked this all off. So desire is actually at the foundation of the ego. The guilt came afterwards, but what brought about the thought of separation in our mind? A desire for something else. I don't want to be this. I'm curious. I desire another state, or a separated state, a separate identity. So desire is really the source of the whole thing. And so we need to work with letting go of all desire for anything else, and returning our mind to full acceptance of this. And that means, related to today's lesson, I release the world from all I thought it was, because that was all a product of this false desire for a separate identity. Whatever we desire in the world is now becomes part of that desire for another experience and another identity. Okay, so any comments or questions on that?
Just think about how I used to feel, where I used to always want to earn another £100 a week, another client. And I knew logically that even when I got that £100, I'd want another £100, and it was ridiculous. And then when I just came to the point where, just give it all up, and then of course then you get all the clients and all the money. So it's just naturally happens because you're in flow then. Yeah,
it's a paradox, isn't it? When you don't desire, then things come to you more easily. It's paradoxical. You would think the ego tells you, well, the more you desire, the more likely you are to get it. But actually what that sets up is a situation where you can now have your desires and expectations not met, and all of the disappointment that comes from that. And the ego loves that. It loves that resistance. So it sets you up for desire, and then, okay, now we've got you nicely sucked in. We're going to sabotage it. You're not going to get what you want, and then you're going to be upset, and you're going to have a grievance, because all of that resistance makes the seemingly separate identity real, and that's really all that's going on. So when you actually do let go and just flow, then when there's no resistance, then often things do come more easily, because you're not resisting them anymore. Desire and resistance actually go hand in hand. You go, well, that's crazy. How can we desire something and then resist it at the same time? But that's the ego's paradoxical nature. Desire and resistance, or grievances, as Yeshua calls them, go hand in hand, and they're just two sides of the same coin. Desire maybe seems to precede the resistance. But when you start going beyond, the time dimension, and seeing that it's actually all happening simultaneously. So the moment you desire, you have a grievance, you have a potential grievance. In that formation of the desire, you also form the grievance, and the grievance might play out later in your experience, but actually it's all in that it's all in that moment that you're creating that reality. When you think of, to take it back to here, the moment we desired separation, right, all of what then subsequently happened, the entire effect of this universe and all of its sorry consequences, as Yeshua called them, Earth being its sorry consequence, that was all it's like a seed. The desire held the seed of all of that. So the moment you have it, it's like you create that, you're creating that reality. You bringing it into being, and you're on a mind level, and then it's going to play out in time from that initial desire. So the message is just stop the desire. Don't desire. Don't expect. Accept who you really are. If you can truly accept that you are enough, then why are you desiring all this stuff to seemingly fulfill you? It's not really relevant, because you are okay as you are, and whatever shows up, and that's okay too. But you don't need anything external to confirm your self-worth, which is the ego's program. Okay, so Iona, if you can read from Why Is This, or next couple of paragraphs, that'd be great.
Why is this, you may well ask? Marisa answers this question indirectly based on her astute observation that most of her celebrity clients felt deeply unworthy, despite their seeming success. After hearing their life stories, she started to understand that it was this unworthiness that made them choose their celebrity careers and drove them to succeed in these careers, because they thought the success would make them feel loved, accepted, and worthy. However, it only confirmed their belief that they weren't worthy of love, which is what all desire or craving does. When you desire something other than what you already have or are now, you're really telling yourself that you're not enough as you are and need something external to you to boost your fragile self-image. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, absolutely, it does. Yeah, it's something I've understood for a while now, but I can still catch myself. Like Sally says, the next £100, the next workshop, the next the next kind of lovely kind of they like they like me, they really like me. That was the much quoted Sally Field at an Oscar ceremony when she got an Oscar. She went, "Oh, they like me, they really like me." And it was kind of quoted and mocked for years. But I know what that feeling is,
Yeah.
I'm really worthy, I'm really worth it.
Yeah, exactly.
My God, thank you for that outside validation. I can breathe the same air that you do. Yeah.
So it's because we're living in a world where there's all this external stuff seemingly going on, you have to be vigilant. Am I actually desiring things that are outside of me to somehow validate myself, to boost this fragile self-image? Because the ego will give you these things, but then if you sucked into that game of external validation, it's going to turn on you. Once it's got you sucked in, be like, oh great, now you all attached to that. Now we'll give you the rejection. Now someone's going to tell you you're not worthy.
Yeah.
And whatever someone says, you're like, well, it's just their perception. Like, I know that I'm worthy because of who I am. My source is what gives me my worth, and that's beyond question. I just need to accept that. You think it's so simple. Like, why do we so much struggle with this? Just a simple acceptance. Yes, I am as God created me. I am as this loving presence created me, and really, that's just a done deal. It's a given. and I don't need anything external to validate that. It was given. It's been given, for all eternity.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's lacking is my acceptance of it. So such a simple shift in perception, but a massive one nevertheless, because if you truly let go of all your desires in this world, then you're no longer human. Like, why would you want to come here? If there's nothing to desire here, why would you come here?
Yeah.
So it's a total reality change that's being asked. The simple, laying aside of all desires, letting go of all desires in this world means, well, you don't desire anything in this world anymore. And without desire, well, why would you choose to come back here? There would be no reason. Which leads quite nicely into today's lesson, because it's really what he's talking about. Loose the world from all I thought it was. So all of my desires, all the meaning I've given it, all the grievances, I can loose it, free it from all I thought it was, and just find this underlying presence of stillness, peace that is given me, that's always been there. Okay, so happy with that. Pretty simple idea, but the majority of people still live this way. So one has to be vigilant of it, and on your guard. The ego comes calling and wants you to start desiring things externally. Just remind yourself, no, I have everything now. I have everything now. So that doesn't mean you do nothing. A lot of people, what would I do without desire? It's a different kind of motivation. We're talking about inspiration. It says you do it because it feels good to do. It feels right to do. So do it because something in you is intuitively telling you to do it. And you go with the flow. There's no desiring of an outcome. You do it in the moment because it feels right. And so that's an entirely different way of operating. And that's the flow state, which then is not outcome oriented, but because you're acting in this world can lead to outcomes. But you didn't desire them in the same way. You didn't set up the desire and then potential for grievances if your desires weren't met. So that's what flow does. Flow is just, I'm doing what I feel is right in the moment, without an expectation. I just do it because it feels right to do. So it's just being aware of that dynamic of, am I outcome oriented? So that means I'm going out of my mind, or am I going within and just connecting with the feeling? Well, okay, what am I feeling now? And does it feel right? Yes. Okay, so then I do it. In that now presence, and then the results will come. But I didn't desire them. I just did it because it felt right to do. So it's a completely different way of operating. Flow versus outcome orientation are opposites, and you'll never reconcile them. You need to choose which one you want to use as your default operating system in this world. And the one is true, the one works, and the other one doesn't work. So we need to experience that ourselves in order to make the choice. Okay, so happy with those two paragraphs. Moving on to the next one. So Sally, guilt, fear, and attack.
Guilt, fear, and attack are a recipe for great misery rather than the happiness that your source wills for you. So it's a little wonder that Marisa's clients, like so many other celebrities, turn to substances like alcohol, drugs, and other addictions to numb their emotional pain, all of which shows very clearly that the ego's strategies simply don't work to make you happy, even when they succeed in giving you what you think you want on the level of form. After all, if the ego strategy of seeking outside yourself for happiness hasn't worked for celebrities who have achieved an extreme amount of material success, then how can you believe that it will work for you, even if you attain similar levels of worldly success?
So it's useful. It's a useful teaching, isn't it? It's an extreme example, and there's a lot of value in extreme examples. It's like Yeshua with the crucifixion. It's an extreme example of maintaining your connection with Source, even in the most extreme situations. So celebrities are an extreme example of the ego's thought system in action, seeking worldly success, money, power, fame, all of that stuff, and yet if you observe them in general, they're not the happiest people in the world, often very dysfunctional people. And this is held up as some kind of success, by our society, or they're successful because they've got money and they've got fame and the following, but actually they're not happy. So it's a good learning device for all of us to say, well, okay, well, I don't have to play this out. The beauty of the world is you don't have to play out everyone's experience. You can learn from others' experiences. You can learn from their dream and go, okay, well, how's that working out? Not too well. Okay, so I can just learn from that, learn a lesson, and save myself years of going down a blind alley just by learning from their experience. And that's the value of other people's experiences, and the value of teachers like Marisa, who then helps you to draw the lesson from their experience. So if you haven't listened to her talk, I think it's definitely worth listening to, because she makes some really good points, and you'll see that the truth is underlying it. The truth of unconditional love is really what she's talking about. That underlies her treatment, which is for somebody to get them to say affirmations, to say I'm enough. I mean, that's just a statement, an affirmation of your true beingness, your true nature. And she said, remarkably effective in what it helped achieve. So she gives a great talk. Insights about the insights she got from working with them, and really saying all our problems arise from feeling not good enough. So it's that lack of worth, which is a disconnection from love or source. And if we're feeling that, no amount of wealth, fame, status, or anything else in this world will solve this one fundamental problem. Only divine love can do that. So only when we accept who we really are, accept the love of God back into our awareness, can we be healed. And then all of the wealth, fame, status, and all the ego's magic that it seeks to offer as a solution just drop away. There's no interest in them anymore. They might still be there. The interesting thing is, if you're a celebrity or anyone, say wealthy, you could there's no reason why you couldn't do this psychologically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. Really let go and still maintain the externals. You don't necessarily have to give them up on the level of form. So you could be. I remember Eckhart Tolle. I was listening to him recently. Said, well, you could actually have a private jet and be enlightened. That is possible. Wouldn't that be nice? And everyone kind of laughs, because it is possible. If it's not about the form, and you actually are not attached to it. It's pretty rare, but it is possible that it could happen. So it's not about what's happening on the level of form. It's about your mental, emotional attachment to it. And if you're really free in your mind, you could have lots of money and really not be bothered by it. It's just like, well, so okay, just it's just an illusion. It can be useful in this world for sure, but I'm not identifying with it. I'm not attaching to it. I'm not allowing this to dictate my identity, and allowing the ego to come in and use it for its purposes of false identity and desire and fear and all of that. It's simply there. And if it wasn't there, I guess the test would be, well, I could just walk away from it all and be okay. So I could just let it all go. It really wouldn't bother me. Okay, so any thoughts, comments, questions about that little teaching and the quote?
No, it's very good. I'm just aware that the lesson has 17 parts to it.
Yes. So let's crack on, shall we?
Yeah.
So I did actually make a start in getting some translations and stuff done. So I'm just going to, I think that's the correct one. Just pop it in here. And so release the world from all I thought it was. I loose the world. Have I?
Release is better.
Yeah, I think so. Just realized I got the wrong one. Let's get the correct one. I think it's this one. That was I loosed the world from what I thought it was. Okay, so that's number 3. Okay, so let's paste this one in. I loosed the world from what I thought it was. So if you want to read that, and then we'll do a translation.
Okay.
Start, Hannah. I loosed the world from what I thought it was.
I loose the world from all I thought it was. What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except for yourself? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it. Nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts' effect. But it is when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
Well, if I were to believe in the world as I see it, then I would be chained and bound by this tiny perspective. The belief is powerful and the illusions are strong. But it's when I allow questioning in that there's a chink of light. That a hope of freedom comes to me at last.
So we must question the beliefs.
Yes.
And the illusions. Otherwise, we continue believing them, don't we? It seems perfectly obvious. Well, of course you've got to question them. Otherwise, you'll continue believing in them. And the belief will suddenly continue unquestioned. But I guess this is a course really, and he's pointing out the perfectly obvious to us. Just saying, well, this is actually how it is, and actually, I just need to remind you of this because you've forgotten, and this course is there to remind you of some simple truths that you've denied. So keeps the world in chains, but your beliefs. What can say that? Do we need any translation there? When it comes to him at last, So I don't think we need. Do we need any translation?
No.
I can't see anything that really needs to change there.
No, very straightforward.
Yeah.
Language.
Yeah. Nice. Sometimes he does that. Nice lead in to the rest of it. So the power of belief and just how powerful your thoughts are. So if your thoughts are, your thoughts and your beliefs, because your mind has power. If you believe what is false, you give it, all the seeming power it has. That's why the ego seems to be strong. Because we've invested in it. Our minds have power. We've just invested wrongly.
Yeah.
So if we're scared of it and we go, oh, this is so strong, and actually it's not. It's just our own belief. It gives it that power. So we can withdraw our belief and
Withdraw the
be
belief,
free.
withdraw the power.
Yeah. Okay, happy to move on to the second one.
Yeah, big tick.
Okay. So just drop that in there. So we'll translate as we go. It is salvation easily achieved. Do you want to read that, Sally?
Yet is awakening easily achieved. Anyone is free to change its mind, and all its thoughts change with it.
I think that must be his. Salvation to change his mind. I did a little copy replace. Sometimes it doesn't go so well. Free to change his mind and all his thoughts change with him.
Now the source of thought has shifted, for to change your mind means you have changed the source of all ideas you think, or ever thought, or yet will think. You free the past from what you believe, you free the past from what you thought before. You free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find.
Yeah. I don't think that needs any more translation. So happy with that. You want to give a little summary of that?
Well, you free your mind and you awaken.
Source of thought. So where's this actually coming from? The source of thought is just an idea. So the idea, what he's saying is there's an idea at the very core of your mind. And the idea, if it's true, then it's related to your true awareness. Right? So oneness is coming from true awareness. The idea of oneness is coming from your true mind. And the idea of separation is coming from your false mind, another part of your mind. So the source, is the source the idea of oneness, or is the source the idea of separation? One is true and one is not. So you've changed the source of all ideas you think or ever thought or yet will think. So it's going to the very foundation and saying, well, what do I believe? What is the source of this thought? Is it the idea of oneness? That's the source, or is it the idea of separation? That's the source. And those sources create different foundations and different seeming realities. Projected or extended out, those create very vastly different worlds, experiences as well.
And one is from the past, and one is now, isn't it, in the present? So you're freeing yourself from the linear thought pattern.
From what you thought before. So if you've made mistakes in the past and you've believed in an illusion, it doesn't matter, because you can change your mind now. And you free the future from all ancient thoughts of seeking what you do not want to find. So you get off this track of desiring, craving for some external salvation, something external to happen. And actually what you don't want to find. You're seeking for salvation in what you don't want. It's bizarre, but that's the ego. Seeking what you do not want to find and thinking that that's somehow going to be the answer. Because actually you don't want any of the world. So you don't actually want the ego's magic, because the magic is only seemingly relevant within the construct of the world. Okay, happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on then to the next one. So where are we? Salvation is achieved. Present now remains the only time. And okay, if you want to read that and translate as we go.
Yet searching is inevitable here.
No, all right. That's an old one. Yet the present now remains the only time.
Present now remains the only time. In the present is the world set free. For as you let the past be lifted and release the future from your ancient fears, you find escape and give it to the world. You have enslaved the world with all your fears, your doubts and miseries, your pain and tears, and all your sorrows press on it and keep the world a prisoner to your beliefs. Death strikes it everywhere because you hold the bitter thought of death within your mind. Wow, Shakespearean.
Yeah.
The present now remains the only time. Yeah. The past is gone and the future doesn't exist. that we can free ourselves from the past in this present moment, and therefore the future is free from enslavement, doubt, misery, pain, sorrow.
Yeah. So present always comes back to the present moment.
Yeah.
What are you choosing now to be your reality?
Yeah.
And when you change that, you change your future, because thought is what directs what happens in this world. Is the world set free? So
is the world set free? You can free the world.
okay, so happy with that?
Yeah.
Move on. Let's go into the next one, which is number 4. And the world is nothing in itself. So if you want to read that one, Sally.
The world is nothing in itself. Your mind must give it meaning. And what you behold upon it are your wishes, acted out, look on and think them real. Perhaps you think you did not make the world, but unwillingly to what was made already, but became unwillingly to what was made already, hardly waiting for your thoughts to give it meaning. Yet in truth, you found exactly what you looked for when you came. Yeah, that was a really good bit about feeling like come into it unwillingly.
So we think, well, I came into the world, I didn't choose this. The world exists somehow independent of me. I'm a victim of the world. Why am I here? But actually, we found exactly what we wanted, what we looked for.
It's that thing like you
wanted.
Sorry.
What you wanted instead of looked for. I think that's quite a good translation.
It's like when you're born and you say, oh, it's my parents, it was my upbringing, this is why I'm like I am.
Yeah.
And that occurred to me this morning when I was reading the lesson, like, it's just a thought, It was just nice to let it all go.
So I'm not bound by any of that. I made a choice. The reason I'm here is because I made a bad choice. I believed in separation. I thought separation would be better than oneness. And that choice is what's led me into being human and in this world. But I can change my mind. I don't have to continue choosing that. And so, nothing that's happening in this world can actually deny the power of that choice. You can choose at any point to say, okay, enough. I don't want to do this anymore. And that's what he's asking us to do with these lessons. Fundamental change of mind, change of intention, to really choose again. Say, I don't want to be separate. I don't want to be a separate self. I don't want this separate identity, reality, and I'm willing to let it all go, and have my mind corrected and healed completely, return into perfect oneness at the end of this lifetime. And the purpose of my life is to simply make that choice over and over and over again, repeatedly, until it's made so completely and comprehensively that it's made for all time. That's it. The game is over, and time has no more purpose then, because time's only purpose is really for you to make that choice. It will be to make that choice to leave. Okay, so happy with number 4. Any thoughts on that? Any further thoughts, Sally?
No, it's just my experience this morning. When I read the lesson, it was like, oh my goodness, everything is just my mind. Everything is just a thought. I've given it all the meaning. It's like, it just dropped in really deeply today, and it was like, wow. And I was like standing in the kitchen looking at the tea towel going, oh, that was a thought, oh, that was a thought. And then somebody walked in, oh, you're a thought. And it's like, oh my goodness, it was just so lovely.
So you're having then a kind of a quantum type experience of everything is thought, everything's a projection of the mind. There's no exception to that. So what we see as physical is all thought. You know, what's energy? Energy is just projected thought. That's all it is. Now, that's an insight, by the way. Most scientists don't really understand that. They can't tell you what energy is, but it must be thought. It's just thought that looks different from our internal thoughts. It's a projected thought, but it's still thought. So this is why the things like the law of attraction Yad was asking about, this is why they work, because it's all thought. You're actually dealing in the same currency. So you're thinking, and that's affecting everything on the level of form, because it's all thought. It doesn't seem that way, but then, you know, what's seeming, the illusion, and the truth, the underlying truth, are obviously vastly different. So if it's all thought, if I change my thoughts, then I will change my reality. Things do start to show up in the dream, because it's all a projection of thought, and I'm tapping into the entire, you know, thought. The universe is more like a great thought than a great machine. Is a quantum insight. So if I'm tapping into that, then I recognize the power of my own thought, moment by moment. To change my mind is to change my world. So how do you change the world? Well, just change your perception of it. That's all. And then everything changes. So the moment you do that, the world changes. And that's one of the key insights of the course. Because a lot of people are like, well, the world has to change physically. No, nothing has to happen. You just have to change your perception of it. And then the world's changed. So you can change the world in an instant, which is quite an empowering insight. So, I don't actually have to do very much here. It doesn't all have to happen on the level of form. I've just got to change my mind. I can do that right now. And then the entire world's changed, because the world is in my perception. This is what quantum mechanics is saying. There's no reality in the absence of observation. So it's in your perception, this entire reality. So change your mind, you change your world, because the world is perceptual. I mean, that's such a simple insight. And yet it's elusive for most people, because they believe in the world of form as somewhere. If you believe the world of form is objective, some kind of objective reality outside of you, then to change the world seems to be impossible. All this is independent stuff happening. You know, I'm just this one little person in this vast world. But when I recognize it's all my projection, you know, the wall, the objects in the room, other people, it's all a projection of your own mind. And it doesn't really exist outside of you, outside of your mind. Well, that's a mind blow. That's totally changes the game. So change your mind, change your world. Really what he's saying.
It becomes quite playful as well, doesn't it? Because the physical reality can seem a bit heavy at times. And so when you're just playing with it and you're just going, oh, there's another thought. There's another thought. Oh, I thought it was a hot day.
Yeah.
Just a thought can change that thought. Oh, look, now it's cool and it's windy. Lovely. And it's just constantly noticing the thoughts and changing it, isn't it?
Yeah, and then it ceases to become so heavy and serious. It's like, oh, okay, well, it's all just thought, and it's all temporary, and I'm not mistaking it for the truth. No, it's all a projection of a thought of separation. That's all we're seeing in the world around us, the projection of the idea of separation, seemingly outside of the mind. And, you know, that's the reality we seem to live in. But if it's all thought, it doesn't have to bind you. You can change your thinking anytime you want, which is what he's asking us to do in this lesson. Okay, so there's no world. You want to read this one, number 5?
There is no world apart from what you wish, and herein lies your ultimate release. Change your mind on what you want to see, and all the world must change accordingly. Ideas do not leave their source. This central theme is often stated in the text and must be borne in mind if you would understand the lesson for today. It is not pride which tells you that you made the world you see and that it changes as you change your mind.
Okay, we'll just change that. Ideas leave not their source. Ideas do not leave their source. And instead of change but your mind, just change your mind.
Just change your mind on what you want to see. Yeah, that's what I heard myself saying this morning.
All the world must change accordingly, because the world is in your perception. So of course it's going to change if you change your mind. Even if on the level of form, the scientific materialists will go, well, that's just ridiculous because the world is still as it is. But it isn't, because you perceive it differently.
Yeah.
So the same situation, person, event, circumstance, now perceived differently, means that it's just changed for you. And you can do that in an instant. So it's a very, very empowering. It's like, yeah, actually, I'm not a victim. I can change my mind. I can change my perception. I can change my world right now, like instantly, just by changing my mind. And what happens on the level of form isn't that important, actually, because what we're trying to do here is just correct perception and change our mindset. That's what's really important, to learn who we truly are. Yeah. The effects on the level of form are a byproduct of that change of mind. They just happen. So the nature of the miracle is it happens because you changed your mind fundamentally, without really any effort from you. You weren't trying to achieve an outcome. It happened because you changed your mind, and then maybe you got guided to take some action, or maybe you didn't. Sometimes things just show up because you've changed your mind. So that's the essence of the flow state. It's not stressing, straining, striving, seeking outcomes, getting into a resistance mode. It's just very easy, it's very light. Yeah, change your mind, do what you feel guided to do, and let the outcomes just be whatever they're going to be. And paradoxically, they're usually very beneficial and helpful if you've let go of trying to control them. So that's really this. And you see how these lessons are really the essence of getting into this flow state.
Yeah.
How do you actually get into flow and stay there? Well, you need to learn these fundamental lessons of mind, and what is really, how does reality really operate? Because then the flow state becomes accessible to you. So it makes sense to live in that way. You need to be convinced that this is actually the way, and the old way, the stressing, straining, and striving program of ego, is not the way. Okay, so any other thoughts on that paragraph, Iona or Sally? Questions, comments?
No, that's great.
No, so just telling us this is not pride. You think the ego is going to tell you this is pride. But the spirit, which is truly humble, says, no, the world will change because it's in your perception. It changes as you change your mind, and that's your true power. You have that, and you can't deny that, because that's just how our minds work. You change your mind, you change your world, because of the way the world is constructed.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one. I don't know what does this from time to time. Won't go longer. Okay. There. Okay, so number 6. Sally, if you want to read that.
But it is pride that argues you have to come into a world quite separate from yourself, impervious to what you think, and quite apart from what you chance to think it is. There is no world. This is the central thought the Course attempts to teach. Not everyone is ready to accept it, and each one must go as far as he can to let itself be led along.
Let himself, sorry. That was a general translation I did, which let himself
Be led along the road to truth. He will return and go still farther, or perhaps step back a while and then return again. Yeah, I quite like that. I was listening to it this morning and I was thinking, yeah, that's really nice. It's like saying, you don't have to get it. Go as far as you can. Yes, I realise you'll probably visit this a few times and then keep coming back. I found that was quite a comforting paragraph.
Yeah, it's recognizing we've all got our journeys, and we're not everyone's ready to accept this. I mean, there is no world. This is a pretty mind-blowing thought. Right, there is no world. I'm living in it. Seemingly, I'm in a body in an apparent world. Seems to be there, but it isn't there. Not everyone's ready to accept that. So sometimes people might be exposed to it. We're talking about Julian earlier. It's like, well, each one must go as far as he can. Let himself be led. You go into wherever you can go, and then maybe something comes in to distract you. Ego comes in, but actually you're never lost. You'll come back to it at some point, as he's saying. Then leads into the next paragraph. But healing is the gift. I don't know if you want to read that.
But healing is the gift of those who are prepared to learn there is no world and can accept the lesson now. Their readiness will bring the lesson to them in some form which they can understand and recognize. Some see it suddenly on point of death and rise to teach it. Others find it in experience that is not of this world, which shows them that the world does not exist because what they behold must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world. Right, so he's saying that there are a number of roads to this realization that there is no world.
Some see it suddenly on point of death and rise to teach it. Interesting. So they might have a near-death experience. I think that's what he's referring to there, near-death experience.
Kenneth or Anita.
Yeah. And then rise again to teach it. That's,
even Alexander.
Yeah. So that can be one way. Others find an experience that is not of this world. Can have a revelatory experience. A little like, you have a holy instant like you had on the beach. I had a mystic experience last year in the Vipassana. That's an experience that was not of this world. Shows them that the world does not exist. Because what they behold must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world, what they experience. So maybe we just need to change that. What do you think? A bit of translation there could work. So we'll change it into experience rather than. Does anything else need to change there? What they experience.
Must be the truth, and yet it clearly must be what they experience must be the truth, and yet it clearly contradicts the world. That's good.
There's something in you says, yes, I cannot deny that experience. It was so powerful and profound that to deny it would be, I can't. And yet it contradicts the seeming world, the material world. So then you start to learn through the experience that maybe the world isn't true.
Yeah. You
bring those two together, and well, one of them is true and one of them is not. And so this is why in most people's spiritual awakenings, mystic experience and actual experience is what really convinces them. Theory is one thing, but the actual experience of it tells you that this is true, and then you can't deny it anymore because you've had the experience. So really, you're opening by doing this work, this mind training work. You're opening yourself up to these kinds of experiences. We're not all going to have a near-death experience, but certainly these kinds of mystic experiences, these holy instants, can happen as we train our minds and we open our minds to them, and they'll happen whenever. You can never be sure. It's not something you desire and say, well, now I'll have a mystic experience. It happens.
Yeah.
And then it's just recognizing and acknowledging it and saying, okay, so this is what it is. And so it's another experience that's showing me the truth, designed to lead me out of this world, because actually that in that experience, I know that this world is not real. That experience is telling me there's another reality that's beyond this world. And ultimately, it's only the experience, the mystic experience, is what's going to work to free you. Theory is in the end, it's a starting point, but there's the classic academic or theologian who's studied for years and years. They know the theory, but they've had no experience of it, and so their understanding is actually very limited.
I used to ask quite regularly, please show me the truth, gently. I didn't want to attract a kind of brutal awakening in my life.
And he does say, at some point, this path that he's giving us is a gentle awakening. So yes, you're gonna have challenges and so on the way. You can't. That's just part of any spiritual awakening. But this is, a gentle, progressive, subtle shift. Doing it daily. I honestly think it's the best way. I think a sudden awakening can be like a psychotic break with reality, and it can be very, very difficult for people to deal with that. If you listen, do you remember that talk the other day I posted about the guy who'd had the experience with the shamans, and then he contrasted it with people in a Western culture.
Really?
One chap who awoke, he had the spiritual awakening, and he said, wow, it was so amazing. I really felt connected. I felt one. It was the most amazing experience of my life. So he had the mystic experience. And then he said, and then I just went too far. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I completely, lost it, and I ended up on drugs. And so, there's an example of maybe he wasn't ready for that level of realization. It happened suddenly, cracked him open. I was like, whoa, but I can't actually process this and deal with this. And then in our society, we get diagnosed with mental illness. You're told, you're psychotic and schizophrenic or whatever. But actually that sudden break, that sudden shift is what it's like, I had an experience of another world, and not really knowing how to process it and deal with it. So this path is a path of gentle awakening, with your own will and conscious intent to practice at a pace that you can handle, which makes a lot of sense. A gentle progression rather than some radical psychotic break with reality. Okay, so happy with number 7. Number 8. I think you're muted, Sally. Yeah.
No, my screen's gone really funny, so the text has gone really small. Hang on.
Okay,
I've done it. Number 8.
I'll zoom in a bit if you like.
That's fine. No, you're all right. I fixed it.
Love you.
And oh no, zoom in again. Lost it. It's too big now.
Too big. Oh, right.
Yeah, it's covered up by okay. And some will find it in this course and in the exercises that we do today. Today's idea is true because the world does not exist. And if it is indeed your own imagining, then you can release it from all things you ever thought it was by merely changing all the thoughts that gave it these appearances. The sick are healed as you let go all thoughts of sickness. The dead arise when you let thoughts of life replace all thoughts you ever held of death. Yeah, powerful stuff, isn't it?
Yep. And I just translated
David, sorry, you keep breaking up on me. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I can hear you now.
Is it David Hypemaster that somebody died on the floor in a shop, and then he was doing one of the lessons. I don't know if it was this lesson.
Yes.
And they came alive, they were alive again. And
Yes.
to get those visuals, people's personal experiences, I find really helpful, because I've got that vision then and go, oh yeah, well, of course that makes sense. It's not real, isn't it? So
Yeah. I actually listened to that. He gave a talk on that, didn't he?
didn't hear that.
Yeah. Okay. So Yeshua says to him, "Well, go to the diner," and he says, "Today we're going to have a lesson on death." I think it was when the lesson 163. There's a lesson directly on death, and he's doing that lesson on that day. He goes to the diner, and someone collapses, and he's just like watching this and going, "Well, okay, this isn't really real. I get it. I see it for what it is." And then the person was resuscitated and came back to life, and that was all just a lesson to show him that death isn't real.
Yeah, maybe that's what I did here. Yeah.
And death is just a thought, if you think about it. Just it's an idea that yes, you can actually, your life can end, your existence can end. I mean, what a scary thought that is. That can only be the ego that sponsored that. Eternal life must end. And so that thought now entrenched in our psyche and expressed in this world of form leads to the seeming experience of death in the body. It's just a thought. What he's trying to point us to. If it's just a thought, change the thought. You don't have to believe in death. You can't believe in death and in eternal life. How can you? They contradict each other. It's one or the other. Surely he's saying, surely you can see that. You can't have both of these thought systems. You can't compromise. It's either life or death. Which do you choose? But it's got to be one or the other, because death contradicts eternal life. And so a lot of spiritual paths, try and resolve this paradox, but don't really resolve the paradox, because they're actually not teaching you that it's a choice, that it's one or the other. So, well, you can kind of have both of these and still be sane going on in your mind. And that just isn't the thing. You must choose. Okay, so happy with number 8. Moving on to number 9. Where are we? Number 9. A lesson repeated earlier.
A lesson repeated earlier. A lesson earlier repeated once must now be stressed again, for it contains a firm foundation for today's idea. You are as God created you. There is no place where you can suffer, and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and place exist if you remain as pure formless awareness created you, extended you?
Yeah, let's do the translation, shall we? This one does need a bit of translation.
A lesson earlier repeated once must now be stressed again.
Why did you put the once there? A lesson earlier repeated. Okay, once. It was repeated once already, but it must now be stressed again.
Does seem a little obtuse.
A little clunky, yeah.
Must now be stressed again. For it
Take out the once, I think.
It contains the firm foundation for today's idea. You are as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended you. There is no place where you can suffer, and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and place exist if you remain as pure formless awareness of perfect love, extended you?
Yeah. So asking a logical question. Well, how can this actually be?
Yeah.
How can this exist if you remain in pure formless awareness?
Mm.
And you can clearly see that you can't really. If you remain as God created you, as perfect love extended you, you're in the state of pure formless awareness of perfect love. Time and space. Maybe we should time and space instead of place.
Mm-hmm.
There's no space where you can suffer. I think we'll keep place there. There's no place where you can suffer. So he's talking about a location in this world, and no time that can bring change to your eternal state. How can a world of time and space exist if you remain?
Very good.
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
You remain as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended you. And what he's asking us to do is just see the simple logic of it and accept the conclusion. Well, it can't really exist. If this is true, if there's only pure formless awareness of perfect love, and I remain as that created or extended me, then what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing as time and space cannot really exist. It must be false.
Mm-hmm.
That's high level logic, but that logic leads us to then questioning first and then ultimately letting go of the entire belief in separation and the time-space construct that it's resulted in. And because it is just a belief.
Yeah.
Time and space are part of the belief in separation.
Yeah.
So actually really, really simple because it's just an idea. Now you seem to be, locked into time and space with, your body identity. But he's saying, well, that's not ultimately true because you will leave the body. The question is when you leave the body and leave this world, have you left it behind mentally and psychologically and emotionally? Because if you haven't, then you'll come back. The world will come back into your awareness, and you'll just reincarnate as another body and have another lifetime. Because the thought system behind it is still there in your mind. You're still believing in separation. So I loose the world from all I thought it was is your ticket out of here. I can free myself from everything that I thought the world was, and recognize then my own pure formless awareness of perfect love that transcends it.
Okay, so if I don't manage the whole situation in this life, will I come back to another life which is informed by the efforts that I've made now? Do I get credit?
Yeah. Well, what you've learned on a mind level can never be unlearned if it's true.
Great.
So you will retain the benefit of this, even if you didn't fully get it. And then in your next life, you forget it temporarily, of course. When you're a baby, you won't remember you did A Course in Miracles, but you'll come back into, as you grow and age, very, very possibly you'd come across A Course in Miracles again. And you go, this book is strangely familiar. I don't know what it is, but there's something about this book. And then, you might then get into that in your, 20s or 30s because you've already, had a lot of mind training.
Yes.
So nothing's wasted. And the course is out there. It'll be around in your next life if you choose to come, or for sure. So, nothing is wasted, but you can get this done in one life. You don't need lifetimes of this because it's actually quite simple. He's just giving us the fast track to say, look, just correct your thoughts, use these lessons, practice, and you can undo this in one lifetime. It doesn't have to take 7, 10. I mean, all these conceptions I told you about the Buddhists who say, well, when you start getting into this stage, then you've only got 7 lifetimes left. But that's a belief as well. Who says that? Who says you have to have 7 lifetimes? I mean, someone made that up. So it doesn't have to be so. If you're really willing to learn this and practice diligently, why can't you learn this in the next few years and really master it and just live the rest of your life in a happy dream and an enlightened state? When finally you're ready to lay your body aside, it's like, well, it's no big deal. It's just the body going, and I'm already in pure formless awareness. I'm already, that's where I stay pretty much all the time. So this isn't unfamiliar to me. And now I'm just going incorporeal. I just won't have a body. Well, hallelujah. Thank goodness. I'm finally free of this. I don't need it anymore. So that's my goal. It's like one lifetime. Let's just get the job done. Do it properly, learn it thoroughly, practice diligently, and you use your time to undo all of your remaining egoic beliefs, which is your karma. Your belief in separation. That's all it is.
Right.
So what I quite like about this path is it demystifies it all. Some of the Eastern stuff can be all your karma, and it's all quite mysterious, and you've got to work through your karma, and that's going to take multiple lifetimes to work through it, and yada yada yada. And that's just another belief system.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to take multiple lifetimes because it's a simple belief. Yeshua is just saying, look, it's really simple. You believe in separation. That's your entire problem. So I'm going to show you how to undo that belief. And if you will practice this, if you'll learn and practice this course that I've given you, this can be actually quite quick. Really compared to the lifetimes you've spent in an illusion, this can be really quick. I'm going to show you the fast track out of here. In 10, 20, 30 years, you can really get this job done and do it if you're willing. So, if not now, then when? Well, when is it going to be a better time? If you think of how your life's gone up to this point, it's almost like, well, now you've got the time because you don't have children and you don't have all that family stuff going on. You actually have the time to do this. So, if not now, then when? It doesn't really get better than this. You actually have the time now to do it. You're not working in a corporate job. You don't have all kinds of, other obligations and responsibilities that are calling you to away from this. You can actually spend hours and hours and hours on this, which is, a great opportunity. So take advantage of it, and nothing's wasted. Even if you do come back, well, that knowledge, what you learned, is not wasted. That's in your mind, and you change your karma. You come into a different life, and your life will play out differently because of what you've done in this life.
Hurrah.
Maybe you won't have another one. You don't have to.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. If you use this time well, you really don't have to have another one. You've still got, 58. Okay. You might live another 30, 40 years. I mean, that's enough time to unwind. You can really do a lot of Course in Miracles in 30, 40 years. Imagine practicing like this for 30, 40 years. I mean, wow. You would just have to really get it.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. And why not? So.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? What better use of your time is there than spending the time on really learning and understanding and practicing the truth, and then teaching it. What you'll find is it'll evolve into more of a teaching. If you really go with this, it's like, well, I'll teach it, but actually I'm teaching what I need to learn. I'm learning all the time.
Yeah.
I'm teaching it, but I'm learning. I'm teaching myself as I say it, and it just becomes more and more. Yeah, this is so obvious. It's so logical. There's just. The ego's got no way of coming in and breaking that. Like, you just start to know this is absolutely true. I know it, absolutely know it, and I'm deeply committed to it. I get more and more committed the more I teach it.
Very good.
So that's probably what will unfold for you if you stick with us. Okay, so number 10. Whose turn is it? I can't remember.
Mine, I think.
Yeah.
What is the lesson for today except another way of saying that to know yourself is the salvation of the world? We're doing it, clearing it as we go.
Yeah.
The translation.
Yourself is the
awakening.
Yeah.
Awakening of the world. To free the world from every kind of pain is but to change your mind about yourself. There is no world apart from your ideas, because ideas leave not their source. And you maintain the world within your mind in thought. Yeah, cool.
So So direct. To free the world from every kind of pain is only to change your mind about yourself. I mean, wow. That's all I have to do here. He's giving us the absolute simple truth, the fast track. You just have to change your mind about yourself. You have to go and fix all the problems in the world, because that's a great distraction, isn't it? I just have to change my mind about myself. So I don't have to be an activist for anything and try and change anything on the level of form. I just have to change my mind about myself.
And it's not even change your mind about the world, is it? Well, it's kind of is, but it's from your own
change your
perspective.
perception of the world. You will change your perception, because your perception comes from your self-concept. So changing your mind about yourself implies a perceptual change. You change your mind about the world as well. But you're really changing your mind about yourself. And that's so simple. Okay, it's just right. You can do that anytime you want. You can change your thinking anytime you want.
Yeah, you maintain the world within your mind and thought. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying. He's saying what the quantum physicists have actually shown with the science, that this world is a perceptual world. There is no reality in the absence of observation. There is no reality in the absence of observation. So the world is maintained in your mind in thought. This is a thought, as you said. Oh, that's a thought. It's a thought that is not separate from you. It's not an independent objective reality from you. It's in your mind. It's a projection of your own mind that you are perceiving simultaneous to the projection of it and making that real. It's mind-blowing how we do this. I mean, do you know how you do that? I don't know how I do it. It just seems to happen. It seems to be the default reality. But that's the power of our minds. You are projecting this entire external reality that you seemingly perceive out on one level, perceiving it on another, and it all exists in your mind. So you can undo it all there. It's all a projection of mind, all coming from a belief. Well, undo the belief and the whole projection's got to go. And that's what he's saying. Let go of the belief in separation and the entire thing just collapses. The disappearance of the universe just poof, pop, because it was never there to start with. That's the joke. It was never there to start with. So you thought it was there. That was the illusion. But actually, it was never there to start with. And you're just realizing the truth, that it was never there to start with. And poof, pop, the whole dream is gone. That's why they say enlightenment is a joke in the Zen tradition. Because it's like, when you get it, it's like, oh, that's just so funny. It was never there to start with. I was so confused by it. What a joke I played upon myself. But now I recognize the truth, that it was never there. Actually, love has always been there. Pure formless awareness of perfect love has always been there. Ideas leave not their source. So ideas do not leave their source. Do you understand that? Ideas do not leave their source.
No, tell me that again in another way. Because when I was reading that, I thought I understood it this morning, but...
So all ideas are connected to their source, and there's only two sources. The one source is separation, the idea of separation as the source of an entire reality. That idea gave birth to this dream world. So an idea of separation doesn't leave its source; it projects itself out, and all ideas that follow it are connected to the source of that one idea, the idea of separation. So what he's saying to us here is track it back to the source of the idea. See, okay, is anything I'm experiencing, is that an idea that's based on separation, or is that an idea based on oneness? Because ideas don't leave their source. If it's an idea based on separation, then I need to let it go. And as I let go of the product, the seeming effect of the idea, I actually let go of the idea itself, you see. If I keep denying the effects of the idea of separation, eventually the idea will simply not have reality for me. I'll go, well, if it has no effects, it has no cause. You see what he's doing here? If I keep denying the effects of something, I must ultimately deny its cause, because I'm denying the reality of it. So deny the effects in the projected world, in my perception, and then I actually deny the source of it, which is the belief in separation. And that's the whole methodology of forgiveness and letting go. Deny the effects so that ultimately you deny the cause, being the source of all of it. And when you've denied the cause, there's no more cause, then there are no more effects, then the whole thing collapses into the nothingness it always was, because it was always just a false, based on a false idea. And oneness, ideas don't leave the source of oneness. So your true thoughts are ideas connected to oneness. So that's, happiness, love, peace, joy, kindness, these kinds of things projected out into the world. We see the effects of oneness. Now, those are reflective of the true thought of oneness. So that just confirms the truth in you. And you don't need to let go of those. You simply accept that they're showing you the truth of that oneness is true, and works much better than the other idea, the alternative idea of separation. And now we maintain the world based on the idea that we believe in. We maintain the world in thought based on the idea we believe in, don't we? So look at this diagram. If you believe in separation, you are going to perceive a very, very different world. You're going to see all of this mad stuff as real, and your reality is going to be very different from if you have let go of the idea of separation. You believe only in oneness, and now oneness is interpreting all of this. You might still be in this world perceiving it all, but your perception of it is different because the idea behind it is different. So you interpret everything differently. Every experience is now going to be a different experience. So you changed your world. By going to oneness and saying that only this is true, you just change your entire reality, because the way oneness perceives and interprets everything is completely opposite to the way separation perceives and interprets everything. And that's how you change your world in a moment. Just change the idea. Yes, only oneness is true. If that's true, how do I now perceive everything from that idea? And then ideas don't leave their source. So I now maintain the world within my mind and thought. So if I'm believing in oneness, then instead of this being used to perpetuate the belief in separation, the world is simply a happy dream of awakening from the idea of separation. And the world is confirming to you that this new identity and this new reality is true. That's the happy dream. That's living in the miracle. And that's the best you can do while you're here. Okay, makes sense?
Yeah.
Happy with that? Let's go to number 11 and 12. Okay, so number 11.
11.
Translate that as we go, maybe. There's a bit of translation to do there. So, why it does this? For some reason it does this. Okay. All right. Number 11.
Yeah. If you are as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended you cannot think apart from it.
Yeah.
There's a created there.
Yes. Okay. Extended you.
You cannot think apart from it, nor make what it does not share, its timelessness and love. Are these inherent in the world you see? Does it create like it? Unless it does, it is not real and cannot be at all. If you are real, the world you see is false. For pure formless awareness of perfect love's creation is unlike the world in any way. In every way.
So shall we say beingness? I'm just looking at this. What is inherent in the world you see, does not share is, sorry, it does not share its timelessness and love. Okay, that's okay.
Inherent, if you're real, the world you see is false. Yeah. And as it was, its thoughts. Oh, hang on, I can't really see this. The type has gone very pale.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I make it a bit bigger?
I've put my specs on. And as it was, its thought by which you were extended.
Better?
Much. Thank you. And as it was, its thought by which you were extended, so it is your thoughts which made it and must set it free, that you may know the thoughts you share with pure formless awareness of perfect love.
Let's sew that, shall we? Okay, so that you may know the thoughts you share with pure formless awareness of perfect love. So it's this one thought, the one thought of perfect oneness. We made the world because we believed in separation, but we can change our thoughts so that the idea of oneness becomes our truth. And that oneness, that idea of oneness unites us with our source. So one self, oneness, Christ, oneself, that self-concept unites us with the experience of pure formless awareness of perfect love and brings that experience back into mind. And then we know the thoughts we share with it. So only thoughts that are based on oneness now come into our mind.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, happy with that?
Yeah. Good.
All right, release the world. Let's just go grab the original. Where are we? 16. Z. So I think loose, changing loose to release is a good translation.
Yeah.
Okay, so just read the translated version. Sally?
Translated version. Oh, you mean translate it as we go. Lose the world. Your real creations, your real extensions.
Yep. Your real extensions.
This release. Give you fatherhood. Fatherhood.
Yeah. No, it does translate. Sourcehood. Which is actually it's an unusual word, but it is actually.
Right. To give you sourcehood, not of illusions, but as pure formless awareness of perfect love in truth. Pure formless awareness of perfect love shares its sourcehood with you, who are its extension. With you, who are its extension. For he makes no distinctions in what is itself. He to it makes no distinctions in what is itself and what is still itself, and what it creates, extends. What it extends is not apart from it, and nowhere does the source end. Or nowhere does source end, I would have thought.
Where does the source end?
Do we need the source or just source?
Yeah. Where does source end? The extension begin.
As something separate from it.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to keep the word release the world, or?
I think so. That was actually in the original. Release
All right.
the world.
You changed the title, that's why I was asking. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
I changed it to release. Yeah.
Oh, well, it was
Release. It was for loose the world. Yeah. Release the world.
all right. Okay. Release your extensions. Wait for this release to give you sourcehood, not of illusions, but as pure formless awareness of perfect love in truth. Pure formless awareness of perfect love shares its sourcehood with you, who are its extension, where it makes no distinctions in what is itself and what is still itself, and what it extends is not apart from it, and nowhere does source end and the extension begin as something separate from it. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. What is he saying there, really? Summary of that?
Yeah, it makes sense until you say, what's the summary of it? uh, um, well, pure formless awareness of perfect love is sourcehood, and we are an extension of perfect love, and we're not separate from it. That is who we are.
Yeah.
There's no end to it.
Yeah. And the source and its extension are one. And this is what he's saying. Nowhere does the source end and the extension begin. Let's put an and in there maybe. Source end and the extension begin is something separate from it. You know, it's the alpha and the omega. It's the beginning and the ending. And there's no, if it's infinite, there's no finite point of, oh well, that's where it begins, that's where it ends. We are part of this infinite, eternal awareness, and we call it, source and its extension. These are just training wheels. This is a construct that's helpful in apparent world of separation. We have names and words for it, source and its extension, but in the end, it merges into one complete experience. Enlightened state is there's only one awareness. There's nowhere where I begin and that awareness ends. It's my awareness. It's all awareness, and I merge into that awareness. And this is, God takes the final step. He says in words, that means that you simply merge your mind into that awareness. You become one with that awareness, and there's nothing else. And there's no concept of anything separate from it, any place where you begin and it ends, because that would imply separation. So it's all one. That's really what he's saying. It's all one, and these words are helpful to help us to find that oneness in our minds. Okay, so where are we? Number 14, 13, 14, 15. Oh wow, it's a 17 paragraph one. Okay then, so let's just wipe that in here. 32 is the world. So 13 is no world. Okay, so we're number 13. You want to read number 13? Just read the, read the translated version. 14. Okay, so there is no world.
There is no world because it is a thought apart from pure formless awareness of perfect love, and made to separate the source and the extension and break away a part of pure formless awareness of perfect love itself, and thus destroy its wholeness. Can a world which comes from this idea be real? Are you translating Father into source?
Yes, yeah, we are. So let's do that.
Can a world which comes from this idea be real? Can it be anywhere? Deny illusions, but accept the truth. Deny you are but a shadow briefly laid upon a dying world. Release your mind, and you will look upon a world released. So the world is a thought born of the belief in separation.
Can a world that comes from this idea really be real? This is the question. Or can it actually be anywhere, really?
Yeah. Is there a place for
It's in our mind only, but this whole conception is not reality. How can it be real when only pure formless awareness of perfect love and its extension are real?
Yeah.
So the logic is, inescapable. It's non-dual logic, and he's just asking us to accept it, believe what he's saying, and that will free our minds from believing in separation.
Can it be anywhere? Deny illusions, accept the truth. Deny you're a shadow briefly laid upon a dying world. Release your mind, and you will look upon a world released.
Yeah, happy with that? Okay.
That image, you look upon a dying world, is very strong because
Yeah.
Release your mind, and the world changes.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Number 14. Today our purpose is to free the world.
Today we will not choose a paradox in place of truth. How could the extension of perfect love make time to take away the awareness?
No. Sorry, wrong one. It's version control issues there. There we go. Today our purpose is to free the world.
Today our purpose is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it, about all living things we see upon it. There cannot, you can put those two words together, be there no more can we, for we are in the home of our Father, Source, us along with them, and we who are as He, it extended us. Release the world. From every one of our illusions, that we may be free. Like that. Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's giving us the whole answer in each lesson. But this is a particularly powerful lesson. I like this one. As it extended us, would release the world this day from every one of our illusions, so that we may be free. So it's a call to action. Say, yeah, okay, you can do this now, today. And then he takes us into the practice. So if you like, given we want to end in 20 minutes, shall we go into a meditation now? I'll take you through the practice.
Nice. Okay, thank you.
All right, so just making yourself comfortable. Sitting the feet shoulder width apart. Back straight, cup your hands in your lap. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. And then you're just going to scan your mind. So notice any thoughts, any emotions, any related sensations in the body. Breathe in to create some space, some awareness, some light around them. If it helps you can visualize light flowing in. And just remind yourself of today's idea, key idea, which is I who remain as God created me, or love extended me, would release the world from all I thought it was. For I am real because the world is not, and I wouldn't know my own reality. And then just exhale, breathing it all out. Let go of any of that negativity, constriction, contraction, limitation in any way, shape, or form. Blow it all away with the breeze of your breath into the nothingness that it really is. Pull the lower stomach into the spine. Expel the last remaining air out. And just rest in this presence, deeper presence of love. With no strain. Just let your mind and quietness be changed so that the world is freed along with you. Nothing you need do except sit quietly. A French philosopher and scientist called Blaise Pascal said all man's problems simply come from an inability to sit quietly in a room on his own. So just be quiet and rest, be still. No strain, no stressing, straining, striving, just quiet, alert stillness. In that quietness, you get a glimpse of the freedom that's been given you. And the world. By freeing your mind from the idea of separation, that is its source that created it, miscreated it. You free yourself and you free everyone else. To experience the truth, who they really are. You need to realize that healing comes to many brothers, many companions, far across the world, as well as to the ones you see nearby in your actual daily life. As you send out these thoughts to bless the world. So have a sense, just breathe in again, nice deep breath in. You really connect with this pure formless awareness of perfect love, this loving presence. And you extend it out as you exhale, a sense of extending it out to all the world, to all the people in your life who you know directly, to those who are in other places and other countries that you know. So everyone you know, you extend it out, exhale to help you do that. Have a sense of this deeper love extending out from you to envelop everyone and everything. Don't stop with those people you know. So it's everyone, it's the entire human race. Every human being, every person, every animal, all living things, everything on this planet is touched by your deeper understanding, by your release. They are released as you are released into this deeper presence of love. You need not realize that this is the case. You send out these thoughts to bless the world. But you will sense your own release. Although you may not yet fully understand that you could never be released alone. So just sinking inwards. Go into the deeper love, pure formless awareness of perfect love that beckons you. It's been calling you since time began, calling you to free your mind, to awaken to its presence. The only time you can do that is now. You cannot do it in the past or future, which do not exist. So right now, in the present moment, just give yourself over to an experience of total freedom, total love, pure formless awareness, of perfect love. Let it arise in your mind, let it envelop you, encompass you. Say, I release the world from what I thought it was, and I choose my own reality instead. Choose my own reality instead. So choose it now and experience it now. It's a deep peace, quietness of mind that awaits you. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still, observe the breath, and sink inwards to the peace of God, as has been called. It surpasses all understanding. For the next few minutes of deep silence. And if any thoughts seem to arise to tempt you to believe in the world, thoughts of victimhood, thoughts of being unfairly treated, fear, anxiety, depression, anger, frustration, irritation, anything like that, if you're noticing any of that, just breathe into it. Remind yourself that you can choose to release all of this. I who remain as pure formless awareness of perfect love extended me, would release the world from what I thought it was. For I am real because the world is not, and I would know my own reality right now. So blow it all away, let it all go with the breeze of your breath, letting it all go into the nothingness that it really is. and just surrender into this deep experience of peace, freedom, release. Another couple of minutes of deep silence. So just gently coming back from this deep state, peace and rest, into an awareness. Okay, I see you going, Iona. No problem. So just coming back gently. On the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. Scan your mind, notice any thoughts, any emotions, sensations going on in the body. Remind yourself that I can release, and I do choose to release. The world from all I thought it was. For I am real because the world is not. And I want to know my own reality. So exhale, let it all go. So the nothingness that it really is. Notice the air flowing out of the mouth, chest and the stomach suck back in. Pull the lower stomach into the spine, expel the last remaining air out. Notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair. The count of 2, notice what you're feeling and touching with your body. Notice sensations in the body. Breathe in again. Notice any subtle smell in your nose as you do that. Maybe there's a subtle taste in your mouth. Notice that. And notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. Just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state of mind. Just staying rooted in this deeper awareness. Even as you come back into sense perceptions, you can maintain the same pure formless awareness of perfect love. Underlies all your sense perceptions. You can stay connected to this. To help you do that, just remind yourself of today's idea frequently. You can listen to the breath break I've sent you. You want to top up, you can use the short instructions in the Telegram message or email just to keep you connected, keep you in source for the rest of the evening. So it is said, so it is done. So on the count of 3, open your eyes. Just take a minute to look around, observing the various objects in the room around you in this very clear state of awareness. There's no attachment. So this is the enlightened perception we've been trained to experience. No attachment. The things and people and places and events of this world cannot move you out of your true awareness because you recognize them as unreal. Whatever you perceiving from the truth of your real state, your real awareness. And that is unmoved and unshakable by the appearances of the world. So remind yourself to, if you get tempted to depart from this awareness, that I released the world from all I thought it was and choose my own reality instead. That only needs to take a few moments, a breath, and you can drop back into this connected, aware state. So, I wish you good practicing for the rest of the evening. This is our last session until Sunday. So I'll see you on Sunday, I hope, Sally.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're gonna be able to join us Sunday night.
I might do it for half an hour.
No, I'll give it a go. You don't have to stay for the whole session.
How many people turn up on a Sunday?
Depends. Usually a couple. Usually John, Iona's a regular. John and Sue have been away, but John joined last night. So probably John, Iona, John and Sue, Iona, maybe you, maybe Elaine will turn up. You never know. So there'll be a few.
Okay, lovely.
Have a nice weekend in the meantime.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
All right. Namaste.